Hello and welcome everybody to today's webinar. This is Ron Kraft. I am with WorkMax and we'll get started here momentarily. We're going to give just a little bit of time. We've got a few others that are jumping in and connecting. So give us just a quick minute. We'll let everyone join and then we'll get started. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started today. So we've got a few others that looks like they'll be connecting and joining here as well. So again, just by way of introductions, my name is Ron Kraft. I'm going to be going through this webinar with you today. Excited to be with you. Just a couple of house items to take care of. We are recording this as well, so we will be sharing this out, I think, with those who registered and attended. And we do have the questions available throughout this webinar. So if you do have any questions as we're going through this, please feel free just to go ahead and pop those in and we'll address those at the end as time permits. So as we get started here, again, my name is Ron Kraft. I'm with WorkMax. I've been here just about 7 years now with the company. My role is really more on kind of the product side and just really demoing and helping educate companies in streamlining and automating processes as it relates to time tracking, field data collection. So today, our focus is going to be, as per the title, how to roll out a successful time tracking system. And so I'm going to walk you through some of the tools that are available within WorkMax, and both from the field and in the office, and how we're able to help streamline and automate some of those processes to improve accuracy of the data, efficiencies, and all of that. Okay. As we jump in, let me go ahead and just switch screens and let's get into the product here with you. So WorkMax it's a cloud platform, and there's two sides to the system. First, what we're looking at here is called the Control Center. So this is the tool for those in the office where you're able to log in online and view the data as it's submitted from the field. Okay, this is web-based, so you can access this from anywhere at any time. Whether you're in the office, you're in the field, you're at home, you're able to log in and access that. Now, the other side of the system is the mobile app. This is what they're going to use in the field to clock in and out, submit their time, and that's available on any Apple device or Android phone or tablet. So I'm going to touch on a few different tools on each part here in the Control Center for those in the office, but also on the mobile app. I'm going to start here with the app because I want to walk you through just a quick example of what that looks like for those guys in the field as they clock in and out, and then we're going to see that data here in this Control Center. Okay, so I'm going to pull up my phone just right here on my desk. All right, so we have the WorkMax app installed. When we open it up, it's a simple pin pad. So each employee is assigned a pin. Now, again, how to roll out a successful time tracking system. Having done this for a number of years, I mean, we've been in business as a company for 20 plus years. We come from construction ourselves. Our original owners were actually general contractors. So we definitely understand who our target audience is. And we know that for whatever reason, construction in general as an industry has been somewhat slow to adopt technology, right? So we, understanding that, we've used that in helping us to build a solution that is user-friendly, super simple and easy for the guys in the field, but powerful back in the office, okay? Now I'm gonna walk you through how simple it is for those guys in the field to just clock in and out. but I'm also going to show you just some tools that we have available on the mobile app for that, for when you roll this out to your team, where they can just make it really easy on how to learn the app. So when they first open up the mobile app and they install it on their device, which this can be done either on their own personal device, their own phone, or this could be done on a dedicated device. You know, maybe it's a dedicated tablet that the foreman has, you know, kind of a kiosk type setting. Everyone just uses that device to punch in and out. Or it can be done at a crew level as well. The foreman can just clock in his crew, right? But right up here on the top right-hand corner, if they click here, this is where we have our training center. So here is where we give them step-by-step video tutorials of how to use the app. So this is super helpful as you're rolling this out to the field. Hey, you know what? You're an individual. You're going to be clocking in on the app. Perfect. Click right here. Just watch this video. We're going to show you how to do it. Okay. So for those guys in the field, when they install the app, these video tutorials are made available on how to clock in, how to fill out a form, how to track equipment. So again, just a helpful resource for those individuals in the field. Okay. Now I'm going to put the PIN number in for an individual employee. Okay, let's say we've got George here who's going to clock in. All right, when George goes to clock in, all right, right away we get our confirmation page. All right, the camera turns on. We do facial recognition to make sure that there's no buddy punching, ghost punching, things like that. Okay, now right here, this is where they can select which job or which project that they're working. Coming back to our theme, rolling out a successful time tracking system. Here is where you're able to control what they can see and do on the app. So if you want to limit or restrict specific jobs to specific individuals, you can. You want to make sure that the right job's being reported on, right? So let's say he's clocking into this project, and then he could select his task or his code. You know, what is he doing while he's there? Now, obviously, this is going to be your data that we pull over from your accounting system. But with these codes can also be job specific. So depending on the project that they select, only those associated codes will even be available, right? Again, coming back to that theme, rolling out a successful time tracking system, let's make sure that we're keeping it simple, and let's make sure we're, you know, getting the right information. I'm going to go ahead and select one of these codes and then just confirm. Okay, now that's complete. It sends the data back to the office. So just a couple simple steps. They put their PIN number in, they select the job and code, and then confirm. Right. One more thing while we're here on this app that I want to touch on, which again is going back to that, you know, rolling out a successful time tracking system. We want to make this easy and simple for the guys in the field. So we here with WorkMax, we also have the ability where we can make the mobile app available in Spanish. So if you do have employees that are Spanish speaking, that's a setting that you can turn on. So here's an example. If I put in a different PIN number, right? I've got Pedro here who's going to clock in. Well, now when he goes to clock in, the entire app is in Spanish. Okay, so that's employee specific. And this is just super helpful. So, you know, now it's easier for them to follow along, know where to go, what to do. If I go back to the beginning and put in a different PIN number, okay, we go back here for George, right? Now it flips it back to English. So again, that is employee specific if you need that. Again, trying to help it make it easy and a successful rollout for time tracking. All right, so we've just clocked in on the app. Again, super simple and easy. Let's come back here to the control center. This is where, for those in the office, again, you're going to log in online to view the data. So if we go here to the time section, okay, So let's look at today's date, the 20th. Right, so there we go. Here we got George. He's just clocked into this job. Here's what he's doing, date, time, okay. So it's automated and in real time that you see that back in the office, okay. Now you'll notice another record here. So if Tony, I've got time here, he's already has 8 hours reported. So in WorkMax, there's another workflow of how we can collect the data. Clock in, clock out is one. We do also provide an option for a digital timesheet. So instead of clocking in and out in real time, they can, at the end of the day, just submit their time. Hey, I worked my 8 hours, and here's how it was spent. So they could break that down to multiple records if needed. So that's an option. Again, we're very flexible, customizable to what your business needs are. And you could do a combination of these workflows. Maybe you do have some guys where it is individual and you want them to clock in and out. But maybe you do have some where we're going to do this digital timesheet. Just at the end of the day, I need them to report their hours. Great, no problem either way. So now that we're here in this control center, okay, let's say that we're in the office, right? We're seeing this data. There's some tools here that are just going to make it a little bit easier to manage this data. Our goal, again, is to streamline, automate these processes, and have a successful rollout of an implementation for time tracking. So here on the left-hand side, you're going to notice these tags, okay? These are alerts about the details of those records, right? Anything that's red is an alert to tell you that there's a problem, okay? It's something that doesn't match up, all right? So, for example, GPS, okay? We want to make sure that they're actually on site when they're clocking in and out. Okay, facial recognition. We took a picture when we clocked in, but if that's red, that's an alert to tell me that whoever clocked in does not match the picture for George. So now I can select this record, scroll down, and let's look at the details. Okay, so here's the GPS map, right? There's the job site and geofence around that job site. But all the way down here, okay, there's George clocked in 6.5 miles away. All right, so just helping to get that visibility in the field, making sure guys are actually on site when they're clocking in, when they're clocking out. Okay. The other thing here we saw was the facial alert. So if we look here under those details, right, so there's George. Okay, that's the George we know, but this is the guy who is clocked in. So WorkMax, what this is doing, we actually have a patented technology that we developed where it compares these images and then it will alert you if it's not a match. All right. Now, that's not required. I mean, we can turn that off if it's not needed. There's also no added cost if you do want to use that. Our goal here again is just to help validate and verify the data, helping to eliminate any buddy punching. So now, as a perfect example, now I can't, wake up late one day, hurry and text my buddy and just be like, hey, can you clock in for me, right? Well, if we're going to take a picture, then no, because it's going to get flagged in the system just like this. Okay. So again, just helping to validate and verify all of that data as it's submitted from the field. Now, once we do have the data here in the system, if we do need to edit this, if we need to make a change, I can just select that record, click edit, and now I can change the date, the time, the job, the code, anything, just all right here. Okay. Now, one other tool that I want to point out here, again, this is more for the office side, when we're looking at all of this data, I'm going to just extend or expound my date range here to pull in some more records. When you've got multiple guys clocking in and out, throughout the day, maybe to multiple jobs, multiple codes, this little view right here is going to fill up pretty quick, right? So you can see here, I've got different employees, different jobs, different codes, all kinds of things. This is where you're going to use filters. So here, now you can just quickly drill down and search or filter this out. I need to see all of the time records just for this one employee. Right, so here's all of his records and his total hours. Right. You could do this by project. Maybe I'm the PM on this job, so I need to see everything that's been reported for that project. Now here's everything, and again, total hours. And if I need to edit these or sign off on those records, I can just grab all of those and sign off. Or you could also filter by those tags, okay, those alerts, right? I need to see if there are any failed facial recognitions that I need to be aware of, right? Yeah, it looks like George has a problem, right? So the filters just allows you to drill down and isolate any issues that might need to be addressed. Any GPS discrepancies, who's clocking in and out outside of the job site, any incomplete entries, who clocked in but forgot to clock out, right? Now I can fix those as needed. So filters is a great tool. Again, just helping to make it super simple and easy, user-friendly, and streamlining and automating the process. Okay, let's go back to today. Okay. So as far as the time tracking goes, those are the two sides, right? It's the mobile app that where we showed you clocking in and out on that device, selecting the job and code, seeing that information in real time. If at the end of the day they're done and they just need to clock out, George goes back to the app, puts his PIN number back in. Now, right away, it's going to give him his current status. Okay, so it's showing that he's clocked into this job. Here's what he's doing and how long has he been there. If he's done, he's just going to go ahead and clock out. Again, we get our confirmation, but right here now, I have this setting turned on where it requires him to also sign off on his time. So right there, it's going to show his total hours for the day, what he did, and then he just uses his finger and signs it. Go ahead and click confirm. Again, that's complete, sends it back to the office. We're going to come back here and just refresh this page. Right now I can see that George has clocked out, but I also get a confirmation that he has approved and signed off on his time. So that's the simple workflow from the field to the office, seeing that data in real time. Now the next step to this is, we've been focused on just collecting the data, right? Collecting those hours from the field, seeing that here in real time in the office. But now, how do we connect that and integrate that with your accounting system, with payroll, right? With all of that. So that is done through our integration tool called WorkMax. So we do have the ability where we can make a direct connection to your accounting system and actually auto import all of the data. So with our tool here, this WorkMax tool, which is kind of like the bridge between the two systems, what we do is we make a direct connection, like I said, to this database of your accounting system, and we can automatically import jobs, codes, employee data. So now going forward, anytime you add a new job in your accounting system, you add a new employee, or you inactivate a job, this piece here pulls that over to our system automatically. So there's no double entry. You don't have to download anything. This just runs in the background. So then we use WorkMax, like we said, to collect the data, have them clock in and out on the app, see that here in the office, edit those records, sign off on those records, run reports, do whatever you need to first. And then when you're ready, we need to send that back for payroll. So we come back to the same tool, the WorkMax tool, but Now we export the data. Okay, all the records are already in the system, right? So we just come in here, put in the date range that you need, and export. So this downloads a formatted CSV file or an Excel file formatted to your specific accounting system or payroll, where now you just take this file and upload that back to your system. So literally just a couple clicks of a button and we're done. Okay. So again, coming full circle, to our theme and our focus today, rolling out a successful time tracking system. There's the two sides that we focus on, the field and the office, right? We use the mobile app to easily collect the data. It's 2 to 3 seconds for them to put their PIN number in, select the job and code, and confirm. But you're then getting that information in real time. You're seeing that here, their total hours. You're getting these alerts of any discrepancies, and then we're able to connect and integrate that data with your accounting system. Now, one more piece to this that I want to touch on here before we wrap up and maybe start answering some questions. WorkMax, we've been focusing just on the time side of things. We, though, are also able to help you collect additional details or information more than just the time that's reported from the field. If you have guys that also need to be able to submit their daily logs, their change orders, safety forms, toolbox talks, all of that, that is available here with our forms. So WorkMax allows you to create unlimited custom forms. You can come in here and build all of these type of forms, or we have a library of all of these existing forms that you can also have access to. For example, we have an entire year of toolbox talks that you can have. But again, things like safety forms, inspection, reimbursement, daily logs. You build these forms here in this control center, they then become available on the mobile app. The great thing and the really, really nice thing about this is that there are settings that you can apply with these forms where you can actually require these forms when they clock in and when they clock out. So you could take a daily report like this one here where they put in the job information, the work logs, they can attach pictures, answer questions, get signatures. But I could turn on a setting that says, I need this form to be required for these employees when they clock out. And that could be my foreman, right? So now when my foreman go to clock out, it won't let them clock out until they fill out their daily. And then when that form is completed, you could also turn a setting on that says, I need a copy of that automatically emailed to this individual or to these individuals. So it is super powerful when you're able to consolidate multiple areas like this into just one solution, one system, one app that the guys have to use. So when we talk about rolling out a successful time tracking system, this is a huge piece to that, because now the same app that they were already using to clock in and out, we also can capture that additional detail when you need it, like the daily logs, your change orders, and all of that. So forms is another key component to that in making sure that you're getting all that additional detail back when you need it. Okay, so I know I've thrown a lot at you, and again, our focus here today was really just what are those tools that can be used, and how are we helping other companies to improve their processes as it relates to time tracking and field data collection. Again, here in WorkMax, there's the two sides of the system, the mobile app, this control center, and how we're easily able to manage that data. So we've got a few minutes here left. I'm gonna go ahead and open it up for some questions here. And if you do still have some, go ahead, and we've got a couple that have already been entered in. Let me pull that up and answer. Any others, feel free just to jump in. Let me see. Can you log in and enter PTO hours on the app? So when you clock in, is there a way to enter in PTO? Good question. That was from Lori. So we do have the ability in WorkMax where we can tag records with a different pay type or earn code. So if I select this record right here, instead of regular pay, yeah, I can tag this as vacation or sick or holiday or things like that. Now, WorkMax, we are a data collection tool, right? So we're just tagging the data the way that it needs to be. This does not, though, it's not like an HR type system where we're going to show what the available balance is for George and what his accrual is for PTO and the things like that. We're just tagging the data as a different pay type, so that way once it gets back to your accounting system, it then applies the appropriate rates and wages and billing. So yes, we can tag a different pay type. It just is not going to show or track PTO balances and accruals and things like that. Okay, another question here from Brooks. What about a supervisor clock in and out and entering in for multiple employees? Sure. Yeah, let me go back to the mobile app real quick. So we do have that option. I'm going to put in a different PIN number for a foreman. Okay, I've got Tony here in my system. So Tony, when he goes to clock in, yeah, he can clock in himself as well as Tony's crew, right? So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and just grab these guys. You've got some flexibility here as well. If let's say, this guy's not here today, right? Instead, I need to come down here and grab this guy who's going to be working with us, right? So you can kind of pick and choose your guys as needed, or you just have your default group. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and come and we're going to select the job or the project and the task or code, what they're doing. All right, go ahead and click on confirm. And in this example, you'll notice the camera's not on, right? We're not going to do like a group selfie or something, right? So that is a benefit too of doing that individually, which again, this could be on the foreman's device and everyone just uses that, so that way we can get that facial recognition. But if we click on confirm, again, that's complete and that's going to send it back to the office. So we're going to refresh the page. And there we go. So now here's Tony's guys that have all just clocked into this job. I already had Tony clocked in and reported his time, so we just grabbed his other guys. So yes, you can do a crew clock in for multiple employees. Question here from Angela. Does this work on desktop as well? Interested in implementing for our office staff? Sure, yeah, to enter in time is not just required with the mobile app, right? There is the option here with online. They can just log in online, and we have two ways of doing that. There's a web clock. So I can click right here, and just through the web, I can clock in and out. I don't have to use the app, I can do it here. Or I can manually just click right here and create a new time record. So I can select the employee, and maybe I do need to select the job. This might be good too for salaried employees. We don't necessarily need their time and hours for payroll per se, but we do need them to report time to a project for job costing purposes, right? So yes, you can do this through the web. It does not have to be done through the mobile app. All right, let's see. Is there a function that does not allow an employee to clock in early from the meal break as per California? Yes, California has some very specific labor laws, right? Our system is very, very customizable. We have a lot of companies in California because of our ability to help them be compliant with those specific laws. And this also is helpful for other areas, not just California, but maybe there's union, or maybe they're in different states and multiple regions. So part of our system is we can come in here and either create specific shift rules and overtime rules. When we create your account, we'll come in here, oops, wrong one. When we create your account, we'll come in and set the system up to match your business. And part of that is going through those exact details. What are the shift rules? How do we handle overtime? And we can have multiple rules. It's very, very flexible. Maybe, let's say as a company, our default rule is anything after 40, right? But maybe we have this other group where for them, it's anything after 8 in a day, right? And weekends. Okay, so we can create different rules and apply them to different jobs, different employees. California, this is it. Here's your rules, right? They have that 7th day consecutive. For that, here's when double time starts. Now, with the shift rules, same thing. We can create multiple shifts. We can also enforce a rule where we can have a float time. Now, what this says is, their shift is at 7 o'clock, but if they show up to the shop at 6:30 and try to clock in and get extra time on the clock, if I have this 5-minute float enforced, it's not going to count until 6:55. Right, so we're helping to manage that. Maybe because there's multiple guys at the shop, and so they're all lined up at the tablet. I'll give them a couple of minutes to clock in. That's fine. But that's one way that you can control that. But another one is specifically for California. This is where the forms really can help, because here where you create these custom forms, we have some specifically for California, where when they clock in or when they clock out, it'll ask them, because you can turn these settings on that says when they clock in and out, they have to answer these questions. So if they're clocking in and they're in California, I'm going to turn this rule on that says when you clock in, you have to answer the questions. Are you clocking in because you're starting your shift or because you're coming back from lunch? I'm coming back from lunch. Perfect. Did you at least get your 30 minutes? Yes or no? If they say no, okay, well, now they need to explain themselves, right? Now they need to sign this. So this puts that responsibility back on the employee, right? It helps cover you as the business. I'm getting a signature, they're acknowledging and signing off to the fact that they took their breaks or whatever. When they clock out, I'll switch. When they clock out, okay, are you clocking out for it's your break or it's the end of the shift? It's the end of my shift. Perfect. Were you injured? Yes or no? Did you take your breaks? Yes or no? So this is really big for California customers, is being able to use the forms in conjunction with the time records and having them answer these questions. Okay, let me switch here to the next question here. Can an employee report a clock in, a break, and lunch break? We kind of talked that a little bit just now. There is also under the shift rules, and this was a question from Asaf about lunch breaks. We can handle that in a few different ways. If we come back here to these shift rules, we can do what's called an auto lunch. So I can come here under my shift rule and say, you know what, we're just going to deduct 30 minutes at the end of the day from their total time. Or you could do it where it is time specific. At 12 o'clock, we're just going to deduct 30 minutes from their time. Or you could do what's called a dynamic lunch. And this is also helpful for California, because for California, it's required for them to get their lunch after they've worked so many hours. So after they've worked X amount of hours, then we'll deduct that 30 minutes. So you can apply the rules to handle that for you, or other companies, some customers, they'll just have like a lunch code that they can clock into. And that way you can track how much actual time they spent on lunch. That's another way to do that. Or even a third option is they can just clock out altogether and then clock back in when they're coming back to work. And then it's that gap of time between records where it's their lunch. Okay. So you can do it in multiple ways. You can also have those forms, which are questions when they're clocking in and out, why they're clocking in and out. Is it because it's your lunch? Is it because it's the end of the shift, right? Okay, we've got a couple more here, and I know we're sensitive on the time, so I appreciate you guys sticking with me. But I'm going to answer just a few more here. Is there an approval procedure for supervisors to approve time? Yes. You'll notice here on the right-hand side, there's up to 4 levels of sign-off and approval. okay? The employees can sign off on their time. We saw that with George. When he clocked out, I had him sign off on it. Now there's a manager level sign off. Then there's also sign off 1, sign off 2, which that could be for payroll or whoever. If I'm the manager, okay, I'm the super, right? I'm coming in here, I can see, okay, that's the right job for George. His code is correct. His hours look good. He signed off on it. I'm going to go ahead and select that record, and I'm going to sign off. Now, I'm the manager, so I'm going to use this one here. I'm just going to click and sign. Okay, now it's going to capture the time and date stamp of when that was signed, by who, and now when I save that, now I've got that second level of approval that the supervisor has signed off on it. And you could do that for multiple records. I could grab all of those and sign off on them, do a mass edit if needed. Okay, let's see, another one. Can temporary employees be entered by the foreman on the mobile app on day 1 when they arrive at site, or is this primarily done by the office? That's a great question. So yes and no. So what I mean by that is WorkMax, we use the accounting system as the primary system of record, okay? So we pull from that system, right? So generally, yes, you would need and want to have the data entered in there first, so that way it can then be pulled into WorkMax, right? But we understand that, yeah, I mean, this is construction. A lot of times there's guys that just show up on site for work, right? They're new hires, and we don't have them in the system. So again, that's where forms can be of benefit, because you could have, just like this here, a new hire form. All right, so the foreman could have this form available on the app. He's got a new guy that just started. All right, well, let's just get his information. Here's his name. Here's his information. Let's take a picture. I'm going to have him sign it, and now I can send this back to the office. As soon as this form gets submitted, I could have that setting turned on that says, hey, when a new hire form gets filled out, that needs to go to HR. So now HR is going to get this form, which you could either use this one, you could build your own, or you could customize this one as well and tweak it to your own. But now I've just quickly gathered all that information for this new hire in the field and submitted that back to the office. So now the office could then put them into the system, and we can then add them into WorkMax. Okay. All right. All right, I appreciate the time, guys. Hopefully that was helpful, that was informational and beneficial for you. If you do have any additional questions, and you would love to maybe have a deeper dive, follow up, we can spend some time and go through the full system with you. There's a lot that we haven't touched on as far as what is available from WorkMax. Our goal here today was really more just educational on how to implement and have a successful rollout for time tracking. And hopefully we accomplished that in giving you some tools, both in the field and in the office, on how we can help to streamline and automate those processes for you guys. So again, I appreciate the time. Here's my contact information. Please feel free to reach out. We'll follow up with you as well afterwards. So if you do have additional questions, we can take a deeper dive with you. Thanks again. Appreciate the time, and have a great rest of your day.